Today, I'm producing my 1900th episode. That's craziness. And I want to tell you 9 things that I've learned over producing 1900 sales episodes. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. On this episode, I'm going to do something a little bit different. As you heard in the teaser, this is our 1900th episode. It's craziness, right? 1900 episode. Been doing this since 2012, and it's been an amazing journey so far. And we're going to keep doing it until it gets boring. That's what I keep saying. It hasn't got boring yet. And I know many of you have been benefited from the podcast. Many of lives have been changed, and many sales deals have been closed from the content we share. And we're excited for that. And we want to keep doing that. So I wanted to go back in and look at some of the past episodes, and I didn't get a chance to analyze all of them myself. But I went back in and looked at the top lessons I've taken away. And I also had Chad help me out a little bit with this. But some of the things I want to do today is just point out 9 key things I have gleaned, in no particular order, but 9 key things that I've gleaned, I've learned over producing this many episodes. And hopefully you find one piece of insights that you can take and apply or you can utilize in your sales efforts. So the first one I want to talk about, again, no particular order on this one. You need to test. There's no one way of selling. And let me just explain this. So every time I talk to salespeople, or every time folks reach out to me, they're asking, what they're trying to find, is there a best way for them to sell right now? Such as, is it going to be email? And if so, what's that email template? If there's a script of when it does a cold call, or is there a message that I should send to prospect on LinkedIn? And the truth of the matter is that there's no one way to sell. After interviewing so many different people, from experts to individuals who are SDRs to folks that are doing early on when I did I had people do B2C information, people who are doing B2B. There's so many different paths to selling, and a lot of people claim this is the best one. But my recollection, from all those episodes and my conversation with people and analyzing it, coming down to it, there's no one way. You need to first, and I think we're going to go through some of these other points, but the first thing you need to do is just really understand who you're going to sell to. And you need to look for ways how you can break through the noise. There's a lot of noise out there on the internet, and when you're thinking about the messages, when you're looking at social, there's a lot of noise. But if you can find a way to break through to the prospect, I think that's the best way you're going to be successful. Are there some things that help out to do that better? Yes. LinkedIn, can I grab your attention beforehand? Awesome. Can I then leverage that to get you to open email and to make a phone call? Fantastic. But others might tell me, Donald, I'm just sending this email and it's working, or I'm doing a lot more cold calls and it's working. So there's a variety of things, and there's just no one way. I recommend you try and you test. I give you advice. I don't tell you it's the only way. Try and test it. And if it works, fantastic. And if it doesn't, you iterate. But you don't have to. This podcast is free, so you're not going to get lose anything from it. You may lose time trying something that may not necessarily work, but that's the whole point. What I'm trying to make. You're iterating, you're testing, and you're trying. So that's the one thing. There's no one way of selling. Number 2, always be prospecting. Now, you've heard the term always be closing, but I'm a firm believer in always be prospecting. I've done many different episodes on this, and I've had guests talk about it. But what I find oftentimes, pipeline become meager. And that's one of the things that we stress. Your pipeline should be 3 to 5x what you're trying to bring in. And if that's what you're aiming for, if that's what you're doing, can we do a better job of getting more and more deals? And the way you consistently get more and more deals is make prospecting a regular thing on your calendar. So if you're going to do 1 hour a day, depending on your role, 2 to 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, make sure it's there. And you're going to get a point where you're busy, especially if you're a full cycle seller. You're going to get to a point where you're busy doing discos and follow-ups and proposal reviews. Make sure you go back to basics and set aside that 1 hour, 1.5 hour per day, whatever that time is, 2 hours a day to prospect, So you're getting some stuff in because you always need to build pipe. The other day I did an episode about the different types of email, and I also spoke about like relevancy and how referrals play in that. You could use referral as part of your strategy, as your pipeline development strategy, but I don't care what you do, you just always need to be prospecting. And when you do cold calls, cold outreach, it does help for you to fine tune your game, and so you don't get lethargic or get so tied up on a one way in the old school way. You try different things when you're experimenting with prospecting, and that's my recommendation. Always be prospecting. All right, so I gave you two amazing stuff so far. Let me go back down to one of the other ones. I feel this one drives, this is going to tie to you as a seller and also as a sales leader. Accountability drives sales forward. One more time for the folks in the back: accountability drives sales forward. And what I mean by accountability drives sales forward, with the episodes that I've done, the leaders that I've spoken to, one thing that comes back and reigns supreme over and over and over again is when salespeople are not doing, when sellers don't have a, how to best put this, accountability or that one-on-one, things start to slip. And I've spoken about this in some of my episodes early on. When my sales manager stopped doing one-on-ones with me, the accountability went away. So therefore, and it's because my manager got busy. So she had so many other things to do. She didn't have time to sit down with me one on one. And because of that, I started to slip. Not that I was a slacker, it was just a simple fact. Accountability wasn't there. And some of the little things, such as, when do you expect this deal to come in? Why do you have that forecast date on it? What have you done to get XYZ involved? Like, little things slipped because I didn't have that coaching and accountability. And I noticed a decline in my performance. And then the same thing happened with my team. When we started to, at one point, get really busy, I wasn't doing that one-on-one anymore. I just said, I can't do it. I don't have time. And we passed it off. And when we slipped that, my team didn't have that accountability with their sales leader, and just bad habits crept in. And then started on a calls late, or didn't, they were lollygagging a little bit more because I wasn't fine-tuning, looking at the numbers as detail as much as I was before. And I felt that in my team. I saw that in my performance, and I hear this when some of the guests we brought on over the years. There got to be that accountability level. You can't get too busy as a manager that you say you can't do one-on-one coaching, or again, you can outsource coaching to us, but it needs to be some kind of accountability, some kind of pipeline review, some motion where someone is looking at and measuring. Because the thing is, you're going to be measured from the executive team and then also from the board. And if that is happening and you're not doing it at the ground level, you're not going to really have a true impact or measurements to be able to have change efforts put in place, because you're pushing rather than guiding and coaching. So anyways, accountability drives sales. Have accountability in place and stick to it. All right, number 4, LinkedIn, baby. You knew it was coming. LinkedIn. I'm not getting, I lied. I am getting paid by LinkedIn because they do sponsor this podcast. But LinkedIn has been and will continue to be a powerful strategy, a powerful powerhouse when utilized properly. And what I found is that oftentimes sellers are not maximizing LinkedIn, whether you're not using it um, to prospect and get in touch with folks. You're probably not using it to make send voice messages. Probably not using it to engage with some of your past customers. There's so much to do with LinkedIn, and we have plenty of episodes on it. The one strategy that I found is that we've utilized is to connect, share, and engage. We've adjusted it a little bit, but I'm just give you connect, share, and engage. It's one of the ones that in the archives. But when you connect with your right customer on LinkedIn. You engage by sharing content and engaging on their content. People who you can use Navigator to find out who's engaging on a platform, and those are the people that you connect with. And then you share content once a week on LinkedIn. And as you share content, you pop up more in other people's feed, and it just becomes this perpetual cycle where you're connecting with the right customers. They're seeing your content, you're engaging with them, and then you're sharing more content and engaging with those people who uh, who comment on your stuff. But connect, back up, connect, share, and engage. So connect with the customers, share relevant content so they can see it, and then you engage with people who are engaging on your content. That strategy has worked for me. Sending voice messages to people on their birthdays, sending voice messages or videos to people after they connect with you. All of these things start the process, jumpstart the conversation, which naturally leads to more opportunity. So utilize LinkedIn and put it as a part of your sales tech stack. Make the investment, $79 with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And if you want to get a free trial, go to salesevangelist.com slash go to linkedin.com/TSC. So linkedin.com/TSC for a 60-day free trial. But either way, if they weren't sponsored, I'll still tell you about Navigator. But now you just get 2 months for free as opposed to one. Number 5, objection. What I found, objection, address them before they become an issue. And I want to tie back to an episode that I did. This was, let me see. This was back in episode number 446. I'd interviewed someone from Gong, and here's one of the things that was shared. Easing your buyer's fear by addressing potential objection upfront can increase your win rate, even if it leads to a higher cancellation rate initially. That was from episode number 446. But the cool thing about this is taking the, if you like, I had a sales trainer tell me once, like, if you feel it, you should say it. If you feel like the prospect is trying to dodge you or they're not really interested, bring it up. You can tactfully do so and not say, hey, Mary, I think you're trying to dodge me. But you can say, hey, Mary, I take it that this is not our top priority right now. Am I off on that? Donald, you're right. We have so many other things going on, and we're trying to figure out this, hiring these people and get them on board. I just don't have time for it. Great. Now I know this, and I can put it off later to another time, as opposed to Mary giving me the motion. Yeah, Donald, send the information and I'll look at it. Mary's not going to look at it because it's not a priority. But initially, maybe you get a bunch of people several people who say, yeah, we're not interested, Donald, really. Then the beautiful thing is that, yes, you're cleaning up your pipeline. You're not having 3 to 5x garbage. You're having people who are not, you're having 3 to 5x of quality opportunity. And if somebody is not interested and you lose something, you can't lose something you've never had. Doing this initially, start that process to make sure that you're getting the right people and getting people who are ready to purchase. But objection, address them before they become an issue. Bring them up. If you know in your initial call you're going to get a lot of objection, and I spoke to you about this. One of my clients recently had an objection that we're getting in the cybersecurity world about the prospect not wanting to give out their day information about their setup to a sales rep because they don't know if you're a good guy or a bad guy. So we found a way to address that in their prep call, in the call before it became an issue, and that decreased the objection. And what we simply did in that case was change the way of asking, is that something that what do you have in your tech stack? We started addressing it in a way that it made it, is that something you've experimented about? And we just changed a little bit of wording, and it made a big difference. But also just bringing up the fact preemptively about some of the clients that we've worked with in the past that are bigger names or they've worked with, and that allowed for a little bit of calm relief to know that we're working with big companies like X, Y, and Z, and so forth. But the thing is, we started addressing these objections. We saw them coming up preemptively before they became an issue, and it's working right now. Number 6, um, the little things work. And what I mean by the little things is, we've had episodes with guests such as like Bob Berg who talk about the endless endless referrals. And his notion is, can we go the extra mile? Can we be that person that folks would want to do business with? Sending handwritten notes is one of those little things. Sending stuff in the mail, gift cards. We've talked about that on past episodes when I did a campaign to local to businesses for one of the clients we had, and how we saw a ridiculous increase in their appointment book rate. But all of those things come back to this notion of, this concept is not too foreign. This concept can work if we utilize it, if we do it consistently. Small things, to go back to the birthday, if we, the things in the mail, like the pre-call, calendar invite with the agenda, post-call summaries, like all these little things tell the clients and the prospects that you're willing to sweat the little things. You're going to also sweat the big things, and it's those little details that make a big difference. So little things work. Number 7, sales is about relationship and personalization. That's even more true now than ever. If you go back in the past, say 50 episodes that I've done, you probably see a theme with those, where we're talking about how folks are getting bombarded over and over and over with messages, so much information. If that is the case, if the prospects are feeling that they're getting too much information, and they're getting bombarded, you need to make sure that you're personalizing it to them, that they feel in some way that you're doing this one-on-one to them, even if you're doing it at scale, like we talked about in again the last episode in 1899. Sounds like a year, right? But in that episode, if you're helping, if you're doing stuff that's relevant to that prospect, there's a higher possibility that they're going to reply back to you. But that level of personalization makes the biggest difference. And this applies in anything we do in life. Nobody, especially now with AI, nobody wants to feel like they're just a number, or feel like they're just a part of your agenda. Like you to they want to know that you've done the work already, and you know there's a real problem that they have. It's harder to sell in that way than it is before. But the point is, it does work. And it comes down to us just being willing to do the work. Number 8, make it easy for people to buy from you. Marcus Sheridan gave a good episode on this one recently about the giving a price beforehand. But when you make it easy for people to buy from you, you lay out the plan for them. And this is where I'm a big fan of Mutual Action Plan. I interviewed the CEO of Aligned, and he came on a show, and we spoke about this. But when you can give a project plan, so to speak, or a mutual action plan showing what's going to happen and how it's going to happen, it's become a project management, and you and the buyer are working on that together, and it makes it easy for them to buy from you. Take out extra stuff that would be difficult for them to do, or it's going to be a hindrance. Get rid of that and make it so easy that they feel, of course I'm going to do business with this person, because it's just simple. Really, I really like that one. And then number 9, ninth principle was understanding your ICP. And what I mean by your ICP, understand your ideal customer profile and how crucial that is. When you know exactly who you're targeting, your messaging becomes sharper and your outreach more effective, and you close at a higher rate. And we talked about that in episode number 1625. So adapting to your ICP right now is so, so, so important, even if it's not a personalized towards Mary, who is, I don't know, who just got into the role, and she is facing difficulty with, increasing hiring. Like, we may not know that detail, but we may know the detail that it's the organization is trying to hire, and we do know some of the challenges that do come from that. We can scale that personalization, and it makes a difference. And again, it's harder to get the detailed personalization unless somebody's given this information to you. But the general personalization, understanding that buyer, understanding some of the nuances they go through, understanding some of the difficulties, if you can do that and use that on a day-to-day basis, I mean, I'm telling you, sky's the limit. You're going to see success. And then just like, I don't know, there's one more I want to give you, is cold calling. This is the bonus. Cold calling just remains effective. Go back to that episode in 466. In this episode, when I talked to Gong, they analyzed over 25,000 calls, B2B calls, and it shows them that cold call, when personalized, still remains one of the most effective ways to do outreach. And the same thing we're seeing right now, same thing we're seeing over and over and over again. So, my friends, it's been fun doing this, and I can't wait to do another 1900. That's a lot more, but we'll keep going at it, and there'll be evolutions of the show and how we develop it and how we improve on it. But those are some nine quick lessons that I've taken over doing these 1900 episodes, and I gave you a bonus one there. Cold calling is money. Listen, I would love to make this show even better for you. What are some things that you want to get from this podcast? Any suggestions and ideas and tips? Go ahead and drop me a message on LinkedIn. If you want to join one of our masterminds, or join our LinkedIn prospecting course, or just learn from one of our sales training programs, go ahead and let me know as well. You can send me a message, Donald at thesalesevangelist.com, Donald at thesalesevangelist.com, or on LinkedIn. As always, I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. I want you to raise your level of thinking, but most importantly, I want you to go out and do big things. See you in the next one.